What's up everyone, welcome back to another Profound Studios tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to perfect your build-ups with these easy tips. Now in our build-ups we want to build anticipation while making sure the build has less energy than the drop, and these tips I'm going to show you today will help you achieve that. Now just quickly, if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel and drop a like. It helps more people see the video, and it's also the best way to support the channel, and it's also completely free. I see a lot of our viewers aren't actually subscribed, so yeah, if you're seeing this and you're enjoying the content, please just drop a subscribe below. It really helps out the channel. Alright, let's get stuck into it. Okay, here we are inside my FL Studio, and I've got a project opened here. It's an original of mine that you will have heard in the intro of this video as well as previous videos, and I'm just going to use a couple of my tracks, including this one, to just kind of run through these tips and how I use them. So firstly, the first tip I want to show you is how to automate the low end from the build. Now it's quite simple, obviously, you're just automating an EQ and decreasing the low end, but I want to touch on it further and show you how effective that is. Now for example, as you can see here with these automations, I've got the kick is decreasing the low end here, I'm decreasing the low end from the bass, from the snares, from the deeper vocal that I have, from what else have we got? From the hats, I'm just doing that slightly, even though they're more high frequencies for the most part. I am decreasing that just a little bit, more so the mids from the drums. But as you can see here, and then as you can see from this, the mastered file here, see how it's decreased a lot of the volume here, and then the volume increases again back into that drop. Now we will touch on one of the tips, volume automation, further along the video, but for now let's take a listen to the build up in this track. Now here is where you'll start to hear the low end go away from the kick and the bass line, and then they come back in. So it really gives that effect that the drop is much louder, the drop hits harder, because all of that low end from your, as you guys know, the low end, kick and bass line, they drive the track. So when they're automated out of the build, it gives the listener the sense that the drop is coming. It makes the track slightly quieter, and it gives that effect that the drop hits harder, and that's what you really, you want to build that anticipation, and that's so that there's less energy in your build, and then when the drop hits, all that energy releases. It's definitely something I recommend doing. You can do it differently to how I did it. You could very simply, create a send to one channel and just send any sound you want to take the low end out of. You could very simply just route it to that particular channel, and that way it can save you a bit of time. But I liked, in this track in particular, I really got a bit I got a bit picky with exactly how much low end I wanted out of each sound. So, but it's totally up to you how you do it exactly. But I want to show you, before we move on to the next tip, how this tip kind of sounds on its own. Let's listen to the kick and bass line. So it's already got some low end out of it, but as it gets to this part of the build, you can hear it decreases more and more. So it's quite a cool tip. I definitely reckon you should be doing this in, I would say, every single, particularly tech house or a house in general. You want to be doing this all the time in your build-ups for sure. Now, what else can I show you for this tip? With our drums, let's turn these back on, and our snare and vocal, and we'll listen to how that sounds. Now the low end's going to start decreasing here. See how it really fades out the snare build in particular? And then it all comes in again. So it's very simple to do, and it's also extremely effective. So highly recommend that. Now, second tip is you can increase the reverb in the build-ups, and you can also do this. You can call it increasing reverb, or you can call it the washout effect. There's a few ways you can do this. There's lots of plugins that will do it, and there's also you can do it just by using a stock reverb in your DAW. Now, for this track in particular, I used just a stock reverb plugin. Let me just go here. Let me find it for you. I have it on my master channel, and let me find the automations. Here we go. The decay time and wet level, I just have that turned off completely, because you don't want it in your drops, of course. I have it turned on only in the build-ups, and what's very, very important when you do this is that with your low cut here, I put it to about 1000 Hertz personally. So anything under that, it doesn't get affected by the reverb. Because now let's listen to the kick and bass line on alone again. You can hear that the low end of it isn't being affected by the reverb. But if I had this off, so I had this all the way down, off. See how it's making much more reverb on that low end, and it's getting a bit muddy, particularly if it was, playing. We play the track all together. It's a subtle difference, but it definitely makes a big difference. So you don't want any reverb on your low end. It's as simple as you wouldn't put reverb on a sub bass, would you? That's not sure if you've come across that meme before, but yeah, no, we do not want reverb on the low end. So yeah, just make sure you have this on whatever plugin it is. If you're using a reverb, just make sure to have your low cut, yeah, at about 1000 Hertz, I would say. Now, why this is effective is it builds, I guess, it makes the drop with the reverb, makes the drop sound a bit wider, and it also helps just build that extra anticipation that the listener can hear the change in the track with the reverb building, and then when the drop hits, take it away slowly, and then bam. It is quite pardon me, quite a useful tip. We'll show you also another track, which we'll jump to now, on how you can do this with a plugin called Endless Smile. Okay, so I've got another project opened, which I used Endless Smile in, which I previously just mentioned. It gives that washout effect in your build-ups. This is, as I just touched on, a different project file. It's a remix I did of Shami, however you want to pronounce it, All On Me, featuring Zoo. I didn't enter it in the remix competition, I just released it as a free download. But as you can see down here, I've got the Endless Smile here. The automation just builds up that washout effect. Let's take a listen. Hear it. It does similar to what a reverb does, really. It's just more simple to use. As you can see here, I've also, as I've touched on, I've got all the low end out of the synths, the snares and everything. But yeah, it'll show you that in the Smile plugin. I'm sure most of you guys have already seen it, but it's really handy to use for sure, and there's different presets as well. So it's up to you which That one kind of has a bit of an echo to it. I don't think I've used all of these before. That one kind of has its own little uplifter built into it. But as you can see, it's yeah, very you know, very beneficial for your build-ups. It's definitely a trick, whether you're using a reverb or the plugin like Endless Smile. Yeah, you do want to be including this in your build-ups for sure. Now, another trick, which I don't do in every track because let's say the tip is, you know, volume automation. You can decrease the volume slightly in your build-up and then bring it back to normal as the drop hits. I don't do this in every track because when I'm decreasing, you know, low end and things like that, it does tend to lower the volume anyway. But I will show you quickly how I'll do it anyway. You can open, which plugin is it? Fruity, something like Fruity Balance, or you can even just automate the master. Okay, you could very simply just do this. Let's make sure that's like that. And then let's go from here. Let's go lower it by 5%, and then we'll go back up to normal. Alright, let's take a listen. So you can hear the build up gets slightly quieter, and then I'll take the volume back up to normal when the drop is. Very cool, easy to use tip that can definitely improve your build-ups. Yeah, it's not something, as I said, it's not something I do in every track because you'll find that if you export the track by decreasing all this low end and you're using, you know, the washout effect as well, you know, that does decrease the volume a little bit anyway. So I guess it's kind of up to you whether you use it or not. You just got to play it by ear and do what you sounds best, you know, trust your ears. So yeah, last trick that I would recommend that you guys use, let me just take away this automation quickly. Last tip for you today is using filters and delays. So in this build up here, you can hear, now I've got, just using EQ, I've got the drums filtered, which you can hear. Let's listen to them on their own. See how they slowly filter up. You hear the washout coming in, they're filtering back out as the drop gets closer. And then they come back to normal in the drop. I think it's really cool. I've also, if you didn't hear, also got a delay happening as well on those drums. See, I've automated here some delay, so you can hear the washout effect coming in, the delay is coming in. It helps widen the drop a bit as well, and then it's like it gets wider and quieter and sounds coming out, and then when the drop hits, it's like everything comes back together and it's all like in the middle, if that makes sense. Yeah, it gives that sort of stereo width sort of effect, and then yeah, when the drop hits, it's all nice all together. I hope I made sense with that tip, but definitely play around with that. It's not, you know, it's not something you hear in every single tech house track or any genre really. It's not something you'll hear all the time, but it is pretty cool to play with and see if it works in your track. I think it's cool just to have that. It gives that bit of variety as well, as opposed to just having the drums normal the whole way. And let's listen to how this would sound. see it's a little bit less anticipation if it drops just normal like that. Yeah, it's not the same. You can hear it there. It's just, it is that the filters and the delay there, along with that washout effect, just really complements it well. Builds that anticipation, builds that, you know, makes sure the build has less energy than the drop. And yeah, I think that is another tip that I highly recommend you guys at least trying out in your projects. And yeah, feel free to let me know how it goes. Yeah, that's it for this tutorial. I hope that I have, you know, added some value for your productions. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, please just drop a like. You know, let me know what you think in the comments as well. Of course, you know, I'm happy to hear feedback of you know, what I did well and what I didn't do well. Yeah, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm going to be uploading a video, I'm thinking Friday, a project file for you guys completely for free. I won't give anything away just yet, but yeah, I'm back on the tutorial grind. So yeah, I'll see you guys Friday for another video. Alright, bye!